And welcome back to the Zolteus Gaming Channel. I am your host, Zolteus. Back with a new game. So I'm not back with a new game, but I'm here with a new game. It's called Empire of Sin. Just came out yesterday. And, well, for some of you, if I get this up tomorrow, it will be 2 days ago. But either way, very interesting game. It reminds me a lot of the old game series Gangsters. However, it has a very XCOM feel to it as far as battle goes. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But either way, I wanted to bring you guys a different approach to some games. I may put up more of my older game series, in the future. But with this game having just come out and Cyberpunk 2077 coming out here real soon, chances are a lot of my focus is going to be there. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded, but I had a lot going on post COVID, a lot of work to get caught back up on. So that's how it goes. So Empire of Sin looked like a very interesting game. I actually helped kickstart it. I was a part of the funding, so a lot of fun. At least that's what it looks like. We're going to start a new game, kind of show you what it looks like here. Many different ways to start. Hey, be quiet. I'm talking. So you have to pick your boss. You don't get to create one from scratch. You get to use one that is pre-generated. However, as you can see, there are quite a few different bosses that you can choose from. Still haven't hit all of them. There we go. Made the way around. You can even be Al Capone. So obviously this takes place in the Roaring Twenties, and as you can see, you have abilities, bonuses, bonuses galore, I should say. So basically, you can really tailor this to your play style. Rain of Fire. Do you really like to be a shooter, and do you like doing specific things over other things? Obviously, the first time you play the game, you're going to have to kind of figure a lot of that out. As you can see, you have a lot of different factions to choose from. You got the Italians, you've got the French, you've got Oriental, you've got full blown American. Do some good business, eh? I mean, there's a lot of different ones you can choose from. So if you want to go allegiance, you've got plenty of different ones to choose from. Even American. This one always seemed the most interesting to me. Home run, rush the targeted enemy and deal a powerful melee blow. So literally, you just run up there and swing for the fences, right? So seemed the most interesting. However, I'm going to try one that, firing squad, make your allies do it. But I do like the shooting aspect of it, right? Tommy gun. We're talking, the 20s when, it was, you had a Tommy gun, you were respected, So it's definitely something I'm gonna look into, and it looks like brewery costs and brothel ambience costs are down on this one. There's a lot of different things you can do. If you prefer to have less negative faction with all of the other people that you're going to be playing against, obviously AIs, and then this is another one of those devastating melee strikes against your enemy. So you have choices. All right, thanks, Al. Appreciate that. So, just to go with the stereotypes, let's go with Al Capone here. I'm gonna confirm this. So now you get to kind of choose, what the aspects of your game is going to be. So neighborhoods, which means there's 10 different neighborhoods you can generate in your world. The big thing here is understand that a neighborhood, you have the potential to have, upwards towards 30 businesses in a neighborhood, maybe even more, depending. And the more neighborhoods you have, the more minor factions you will run across. So it's kind of like play style. Do you want a longer game? Do you want a shorter game? And how you adjust it. So say I only want 6 neighborhoods. You can now have it down to 6 enemy factions. So the number of neighborhoods you have directly correlates with the number of enemy factions. So if you're like, oh no, and I want 10 neighborhoods, but I want the max number of enemy factions, or I want 3 neighborhoods or 13 enemy factions. So you really want people crammed together. Take your pick. I'm gonna go with 5 neighborhoods and 10 enemy factions just to keep it interesting, right? So it's not so easy to take over a neighborhood. There's gonna be a lot more people around, and of course you have your difficulties. Select what you want. Let's be honest. Some people play to absolutely destroy a game, as far as I'm better than the hardest difficulty, so on and so forth. As you guys know from some of my previous playthroughs, I prefer to enjoy the gameplay, the story, all that kind of stuff. So I'll drop it down 1. Instead of an associate, I'm a made man. You see, I'm a made man. I'm not gonna be a lieutenant. You got underboss, and then you got boss. So I'm gonna put it made man and start game, and we'll see where this goes. All right. So as you can see, we've finished with that opening scene. Empire Sin tutorial. So a lot of the Empire Sin tutorial is going to show you kind of the ropes on how everything works. I already know for the most part how everything works, so we're going to skip all tutorials. I would highly recommend, if it's your first time playing, to at least show me the ropes, and then you can turn off tutorials later. But the big thing that you're going to want to do is really learn how the system functions. So what do you need to do when you first start? How do you do quests? What's combat like? So you're going to get all that from the tutorials. I'm going to skip it. Go get him, Kingpin. I got it. All right, so all this stuff is happening. So as you can see, new missions have been started. See this book right here, your mission journal? This is going to show you where everything is. So you got brick by brick, which is hold 5 rackets, which a racket is a building that has some form of business that you control. And then guess who's back in town? Confront the thugs. So we got to confront the thugs, okay? When you click on these, it's going to show you on the map where it's at. So if you can use the scroll wheel to zoom out, or you can hit X and that'll scroll out just like that. Hey, don't do that. So as you can see, we're right here, and you can also pause the game, so on. So we're right here. We've already been given, because we did not do the tutorial. If you did the tutorial, you would have gone through actually going into these buildings and taking places, stuff like that. But as you can see, this is your safe house. And your first place, the star spot apparently is what it's called, is your speakeasy. So your speakeasy is just great. Problem with it is you're only making 8 alcohol, and that's out of your safe house. So if you want a better speakeasy, you're eventually better speakeasy or more speakeasies. You're eventually going to have to racket a building into a brewery. But we'll look at that later. But as you can see, it says confront the thugs. So we have to travel over there. So we can do this one of many ways. We can actually scroll back in, say, hey, move over here. Let's unpause the game, and, kind of open world feel, right? Runs through. And apparently this one's yours as well. Apparently we have a brewery as well, so that's nice. Somehow I didn't know it was there. But we can, continue to move. All the while finding buildings, and finding new places. And see, as we can see, when you scroll out, let's go ahead and pause. When you scroll out, Derelict buildings, thug occupied racket, right? So if you go in there, you're going to get into a fight. And if you do and you win, you get to take over the racket and make it whatever you want. Now, there are pros and cons to taking over thug occupied rackets. The pros are you don't have to suffer any penalty for attacking, say, another boss. And obviously, to start the game, you don't want to get into a bunch of wars, right? The downside to taking a thug occupied racket is that you have to actually use money to make it into something. And eventually that's gonna cost money. And we'll get into how income works soon enough, but you're only gonna make so much money at a time, and turning things into rackets costs some money. I'll show you as soon as we get into some combat. But let's move over here. As you can see, the little target right here means this is a place that can be taken over. Thug occupied racket, as you can see. All right, let's move over here. Now the Q and E buttons will allow you to move around like that. You will find these guys right here, which I'm going to pause the game here. Any guys with a blue, person and arrow pointing down is someone you can hire as an associate, made man, whatever. In this case, this person wants 8% of your take, which is a $1,200 minimum, which means they are very high in the food chain as far as people to hire go, and you need a very specific amount of notoriety, which you find right here, to get those higher guys all the way up to 1,000. So chances are we're not going to be able to afford to get this guy. Probably he is going to require a lot of money to hire too, which we don't have a whole lot to start out with, so we need to be careful. But you got 2 guys here, all right? 2 guys. 3 guys here. So this looks like it's going to be pretty hard, especially with just myself. Now, I'm Al Capone, okay? I'm Al Capone. I can take these guys. But I'm not going to do that by myself. So what I'm going to do first is, see this right here? Multiple person selection right here is called Black Book. Manage your crew and hire new crew members. So we want to hire new crew members. So as you can see here, there's a lot of people. And let's see, I think it was, let's find out what the other guy's name was. Bernie Barnes. Let's see where he's at on here. Bernie, where you at, Bernie? There he is, Bernie Barnes. So you click on him. He wants $31,000 up front. He gets 8% of profits, and he requires 400 notoriety in order to hire him. For most of these guys, one of the nice things will be is they'll come with some pretty interesting weapons. One specifically, Diana Madura here, comes with a very unique gun. And weirdly enough, you see the damage, you're like, that's really not a lot of damage. That crit damage is on top of the normal damage, and crit chance is almost 50%. I mean, that is high. So a lot of the time, she's going to be doing a lot of damage with a dart gun, which means she's going to be able to fire multiple times in a round. So, there are benefits. Plus, she's a doctor, which means she gets doctor skills. But as you can see down here, these are the only guys we can afford, okay? So we need to be very careful. As you can see on here, I hover over him, and he has 2 thumbs up with this 300 guy and this 45 guy, right? Apparently is in love with Gracie Guts McKee, and he absolutely does not get along with Hugh Miller. There's a little, there's a middle finger above, right next to him, and no problems there. But you also may want to take time to kind of look at this board and figure out who you want, who you don't, because as you can see, she is in love with this guy at 500. But he absolutely does not like the guy right next to her, which is this guy. So if I were to hire her and him, since they are in love, it is very possible that if you do her a favor and it leads to recruiting him super early, you're not going to be able to, because this guy is in your crew. Any guy that has the middle finger will not join your crew if you have someone that they have a middle finger attached to. So you really got to be careful. Anything's possible, though, as from what I understand. Playthroughs are different. You could play through with her and never get the opportunity to hire, who she's in love with based on a quest. Or it could be the very first quest you get, and you get a guy who's worth 500, or who you would have to pay 31,000 up front for free. Now, he would still take 8% of your profits, but regardless of when you take him. But I mean, still, you look at this guy. He's got some pretty decent traits. He's got some okay weapons, but I mean he's an enforcer, which means he's a tank basically. So if you didn't get him as your enforcer, and you got her, you could eventually get him as a tank. And we always need a tank. Tanks can soak up some damage. But for this case, I think let's see, hired gun. You always want to take a look at these as well. As you can see, you hover over them and it'll tell you what you get. If you get this guy, obviously you absolutely do not want him to do melee. Looks like he comes with a Tommy gun, so he's going to be doing some burst damage. On here, apparently he's cruel, which means he has a less leadership, which is unfortunate. He's already at base leadership of 59, but he loses 10 of it just because he's cruel. So pay attention to these. I am going to go ahead and let's see. I think I'm going to take him and him, just because I want a hired gun and I want an enforcer. So let's hire. He wants 2% and he wants 3,100 up front. So once you get him, you get to actually customize. Now, you only get to choose one out of each tier. But, I mean, it just depends on what you're looking for. I like suppression, especially since I'm going to be doing a lot of shooting. So we're going to do that. If we actually look over here, we can choose a tier 2 skill for our own person. As far as bleeding out goes, we may talk about that in combat, which since I've already gone over so much of this portion of the game, we'll probably save that for another episode. But in this case, you have the survivor, which is it reads, regardless of the amount of damage you take, you are now guaranteed to bleed out whenever your health reaches 0. That sounds wrong, right? Well, it actually isn't. In this case, what that means is instead of immediately dying once you go to 0 hit points, your crew will have a certain number of rounds to come heal you before you die. So you absolutely, unless you are in getting a doctor right off the bat, which can be difficult, you absolutely want this just in case you go down, someone gets a lucky critical or a lucky couple criticals on you. Anything's possible. So we're going to take that. I think I can take these guys with just 2. Now, if you want to make an actual group and move a group, I guess we got to unpause it, wait for the guy to get here. And when he does, see, he just ran up. Bam, now you have a group of 2. So we're going to save. And then we're going to come over here and say, WTF, mate. So now, click on him. Your neighborhood. I must have missed that welcome, Matt. I got a better one for you. You leave Sal's cab alone and I don't fill your guts with holes. Hey, we ain't animals, right? Let's make a deal. How about it? So, multiple ways that you can go about solving quests. A lot of the times you'll find a non-combat way. To be perfectly honest, I'm Al Capone. See, I just did a, slice your neck action. So obviously I want to shoot some peeps. So we're going to begin combat here. So what happens here is everyone tries to get to cover. Excuse me. Everyone tries to get to cover. You have 150 hit points. Now, one thing that I didn't find out until after my first couple of combats is you're going to take damage, but you actually regen your hit points pretty quick. And for some reason... Oh, no, that guy's not on my team. All right. I was just like, why is he green? Green is normally your allies, but I don't think he's an ally. So, you'll see the turn. Apparently, Bernie Barnes is going to go second, even though he's probably not going to help me. But I have multiple things I can do. Rain of Fire. So, fire a hail of bullets over the target area. All characters in the target area take damage and are suppressed. So, what you need to do is actually look at these. So, Rain of Fire. So, obviously, this is probably one of the best things I could do. However, what you need to do is read this and then also read this. Ends turn. So this is going to end my turn. So if I do this, even though I have 2 actions I can take, I am going to finish my turn. So what I could do is do this. Single action revolver. As you can see, it does not say it ends your turn. It only takes 1 action. Is that what it said? Let me see. Yes. See, costs 1 AP. You can see attack over here when I click it. 1 AP. I am not out of ammo. So I click that. So I could say, all right, which one of these guys do I want to hit? Now I could just, move around, try to click on these guys. It could be very painful. Finally, I get, a cursor over on this guy. But conveniently enough, as you can see right above fire here, I can rotate those I can hit, and it gives me percentages as to whether or not I will hit them. Obviously, 100%. Yeah, I'm going to fire on this guy. Bam! 16. Not bad. Now, let's try this Rain of Fire. Looks like fun. I do like that it keeps going. That is pretty awesome. All right. So now we got a shotgun. Now you can swap weapons if you have multiple weapons. Go ahead and keep firing, Al. That's funny. You can do the same with the shotgun blast. But once again, you need to make sure you know what you're doing. So when you hit this, doesn't matter which one of these you check, it's going to end your turn. So I'm going to do this just because you can hit all of them. It looks like it has the potential to take 2 of them down if it hits both of them. But as you can see, we have 85 above the guy with 44 hit points. We have 65, if you can see through some words, with the guy on the left with 29 hit points, and only a 35% chance to hit the guy on the right with 29 hit points. So we're most likely going to take some damage here, but this looks like it could be the best option. So we're going to do that. Bam! Took out 2 of them. Well, took out 1 of them. And this guy's going to come up and hit me, apparently. Ow. Certainly. Ow. Okay. And then that's a full round, as you can see. It's just these 2 guys with here. One thing I will say, be careful when you start combat. If there is a police officer in the square in which you are starting, they will enter combat too, and they will attack you, which means if you kill police officers, you get you get a faction hit with police. So be careful there. So now we're just gonna straight do a regular fire there. Bang! Took him down. I don't know why his jacket changed from gray or beige to white, but whatever. And it looks like I could do a melee attack. Let's go ahead. Fire. Bam. 16. All right, good. This guy's going to run away like something I shouldn't say. So, attack. Obviously, this is the only guy left. Fire, 85%. Hopefully, we'll take him down. Good, took him down. So you see that little heart thing before it disappears and goes to victory? That little heart with the 4 above it meant he wasn't dead yet. If he had allies, people could have picked him up. If they used like a first aid kit or a doctor's bag or things like that. So obviously we won victory. 443 bucks. It's not bad. Take loot, and I am going to. Well, I was going to pause this. All right, thanks for taking care of them. You saved us from a heap of trouble. Hey, don't mention it. Said these crates of booze he's been stocking up. Take care. I sure as heck will. Thank you very much. That's 50 barrels of whiskey. Frank's looks Frank checking a nearby hotel, but he spends all of his time and do it. Good times. Okay. All right, I'll look into it. So now I have completed the mission Guess Who's Back in Town, and a new one should have started. See, new mission started. Go back here, obviously warm reunion. I gotta go to the brothel. And you'll get a bunch of new missions. I would check this often because you could always get new missions. But it looks like, yep, there we go. I'm just gonna run these guys back over to the where my safe house is, just for the time being. But that's it for the introduction. We will go over taking over rackets and a little bit more about how to make money. Because as you can see, I'm losing money right now, but there's a reason for that. So I got crew now, and I was only making $220, and now I have a guy who wants $300. So I'm going to be losing money until I can take over another racket. So we're going to go ahead and pause that. But that'll do it for this episode. Like and subscribe for more content. I know I'm going in a slightly different direction. Minecraft and the Roblox video and all that kind of stuff I made were a little bit more kid-friendly. Unfortunately, I really wanted to do a series on like the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Unfortunately, I did not have a setup where I could do that when it came out. I probably will when the second game comes out, but like for games like Empire of Sin, Cyberpunk 2077, a lot of cursing, a lot of blood. So that's just how this particular episode is going to have to be, or this series. I guess Mountain Blade was kind of the same, but either way, I'm still going to keep it as friendly as I possibly can. So like and subscribe for more content. And as always, I will see you in the next video.